Philip Sykewitz was an American cell biologist who spent most of his career at Rockefeller University. He was involved in early studies of protein synthesis and trafficking, and also worked with George Pollard, a Nobel Prize laureate, on cell membrane dynamics. His most significant contribution, however, was in a paper that he wrote for the influential journal Scientific American in 1957. This paper has, in a way, impacted literally everybody since then, has affected almost everyone since then. We have all lived with the outcome of this paper in a way. So, my question to you, our audience member, is what came out of this particular paper that he wrote for Scientific American in 1957? That is the audience question for episode 139. And here's the music.
Welcome to Are You Quizzing Me? I am Vineet Nair with my co-host Aditya Kashyap. This is a quizzing trivia podcast show. Join us as we dive deep into history, science, pop culture, and so much more. Let's get quizzing.
Welcome back to episode 139, and we are joined with our guest for today, Berty Ashley. A round of applause, sound effect at this point should hopefully play, because that's what's happening. Our audience love Berty Ashley coming back to our podcast. He is obviously a fan favorite. Berty, thank you for showing up for today's episode in the absence of Vineet.
Hello, I am so glad to be back, and I don't know what this fan favorite bit is. I am a big fan of the show, and I love the shots that come out, and every time you guys tag me, I'm like, yay, I am on your channel. A few people have pinged me and said, hey, when are you back to Are You Quizzing Me? And I keep telling them, they are very busy. Those two, whenever they ask, I'm ready. They just never reach out. But I'm glad to be back. I'm, as usual, here raring to see what you've got and raring to see what I have got.
It's like if, a precious object, you cannot look at it for too long. We can't have Berty Ashley too often on our podcast. It has to be a rare thing, because too much awesomeness we can't handle.
Also, let me be very clear, very true, that the last few times you've called, I have been traveling somewhere. You have asked me, but my ridiculous traveling schedule does not allow me to do this very often. So, my apologies.
We are grateful that you have found time this particular instance, and we have you on this episode. So, I'm glad.
Woohoo.
But before we start the regular episode, here are the shout-outs for the previous episode. Our SMAC, or social media audience question, was a visual question, which was a form, a United States government form. And the question was, what are the blanked out details in this custom declaration form? The blanked out details included operator, flight, departure, crew, cargo, etc., etc. As usual, we give a shout out to the person who first answered it on Instagram, and that was Dhanraj Naik. So great job, Dhanraj. Dhanraj cracked it within a matter of few seconds, because he knew that this particular customs declaration form was by the crew of Apollo 11 after they had come back from their historic journey to the moon. So the people who filled it out were, of course, Neil Armstrong, Edwin Aldrin, and Michael Collins. The cargo that they were carrying was moon rocks. So they had to fill out what was in the customs, and they wrote moon rocks. And the departure from section was, of course, the moon. So it is considered a pretty iconic, historic declaration form. I don't know if it was meant for just as a joke, but yeah, it's an interesting piece of history captured in bureaucracy. All right. Okay. So, Berty, I know you're going to riff off of questions that I ask.
Yep.
So I have the first question ready for you, right?
As usual, I come with nothing prepared.
All right.
Let's go. Improv. Improv quizzing with Are You Quizzing Me?
Just combining my absolute two favorite loves. So, to start us off, I'm going to first ask you, have you been to Kolkata, Berty? I'm assuming you have. You're a well-traveled man.
Here's an interesting time. No, I have not. And the last 2 times I was supposed to have been there, have not worked out. I'm very pissed at myself. I want to be there for Christmas. And I want to go to Flurries and have the rum ball. But yes, it's one of the greatest regrets of my life so far.
There is a Flurries that has opened up in Mumbai, and I went there. Turns out it's not as iconic as the Kolkata one, and people here claim it's because the water is different, which I think holds some merit. They say that about New York bagels, so I'm sure it's true for Flurries also.
Yeah. Well, Kolkata, I'm coming soon.
You heard it first on Are You Quizzing Me? All right, okay. So, well, when you go to Kolkata, there is this particular street, which is a pretty busy street. It is considered pretty iconic. It used to be called Harrington Street.
Okay.
My question to you is very simple, Bertie. Harrington Street was renamed in the 1970s by the Bengal government. What did they rename Harrington Street to? And interestingly enough, why? The what and the why are pretty connected. So take a stab at it. Why do you think they renamed Harrington Street in the 1970s? And what did they rename it to?
So I'm going to say why, because the name was a British name and they want to honor somebody Indian. But there are lots of still British names in Kolkata, I'm guessing. So there should be a very specific reason as to why they didn't want to call it Harrington. I have no idea. I don't know this, so I'm going to work it out. Right now, my first answer is going to be they didn't want it to be called Harrington, but they renamed it into something that's close enough so that people don't have to think too much to get the right answer. So I will say, what would be a nice Bengali name that sounds like Harrington or something like Harrington or something like that, or Harrington.
Harinath Tagore.
Something which is close.
I think that would work.
Yeah.
No. Fantastic first stab at it, must say. I will obviously give you props for figuring out the fact that, yes, the whole idea of decolonizing, almost every country around the world which has been a former colony has tried to decolonize. And one of the main ways is to rename things that have a colonial hangover. We have spoken about it in a previous episode. There is this one point in Mumbai which has so much history. Flora Fountain is the earlier name and now it is Hutatma Chowk. We spoke about it for regular listeners. They know what I'm talking about. Or if you're not, go check out. It was, I think, the last or second last, 2 episodes ago. Fun episode. But in this case, you are right. They probably had this intention of renaming things that have a colonial hangover. But they did not rename it to somebody Indian. So Harinath Tagore, I'm sure, is someone and probably is a intellectual person knowing Bengal, but they did not name it to anybody Bengali or anybody Indian also for that matter. I mentioned 1970s. I'll clue you along now, all right? So Harrington Street has a pretty important building on it.
Okay.
This building was the reason that they renamed it, almost as a way to stick it to the man, I guess, in a way. So an act of defiance, this street was renamed, and the building that is on Harrington Street is perhaps the main reason.
Okay, interesting. Okay, this happens quite a lot in certain places where they have a particular embassy or something, and then to stick it to that embassy, they rename the street of the person or the country which that embassy is against or something like that. That happens a lot. So, if the US embassy, for example, if the British embassy was there, you would name it Napoleon Street, just to piss them off or something like that. So, I'm guessing it's something like that. Let me guess it's a...
Go for it.
Organization like that. Is it like embassy or something?
You are pretty much on the right track. Yes, go for it. Take a stab at what country could they be trying to defy it? 1970s.
1970s. If it's Kolkata, it has to be either the Americans or the Russians. I would say the Russian embassy, and then name the street after Washington or some American, but we don't know like the Americans also.
So for our listeners, we are recording on the 6th of May 2026. The Bengal elections have just concluded.
Yes, it
There is pretty turbulent times that are seem to be happening right now. Mamata Banerjee has been in power for a very long time and is refused to concede the loss. Let's see what happens in the ensuing days.
As of recording.
Yeah, as of recording. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the near future. But I will point you to the direction that for a very long time, Bengal, West Bengal in India, has had a specific type of government, and they would not be non-aligned with Russia.
Oh yeah, Jyoti Basu.
So Russia would probably be somebody that we aligned with more than America if these are the two options.
Yeah.
So I'll clue you. It is the American embassy, not the Russian embassy on Harrington Street.
So the US embassy and name it Marx Street or something like Karl Marx Street, Lenin Street or Stalin Street.
1970s, yes, the Cold War was happening, but more importantly, what was the US involved in? Early 1970s, 1960s.
Oh, the Vietnam War.
Correct. So, what do you think they renamed it to? Who do you think they renamed it after?
Are you serious? Did Ho Chi Minh or something like that?
Ho Chi Minh Sarani in Kolkata is a busy street in the city
No way.
where the American consulate is.
Very Harrington, Ho Chi Minh, not too far also. So,
You're right, yeah.
but that is so cool. That is fantastic. I'm glad I could work that out. But thank you for a lot of help. But yes, we got there eventually.
It is near Park Street. It's in a pretty popular main area.
Interesting.
And there were protests against the Vietnam War and solidarity with North Vietnam in the late 1960s, early 1970s.
Nice.
Unofficially, it was changed and then later it became an official name. So there's a street in Kolkata called Ho Chi Minh Sarani, and that was renamed literally to stick it to the Americans whose embassy is on the street.
Nice.
You're right. It has happened in multiple places. In very recent past, there have been multiple European countries where the Russian embassy or the Russian mission, Russian consulate has been renamed to either the Ukraine Square or Kiev Square or something along those lines. So a bunch of, especially the former Soviet countries, which are now more European aligned, they have had their squares or streets renamed to something to do with Ukraine in an act of protest against Russia's war in Ukraine. That has happened. The Americans have also faced that multiple times. I think in the Middle East they have had that. And whenever the Americans have that, then they just change their official address to some sort of GPS coordinates. They refuse to write that in their official address, the name of the actual street, so they'll just write the GPS coordinates or some sort of workaround because they don't want to acknowledge the fact that it has been renamed to something that they don't politically align with. I haven't checked what the American consulate in India in Kolkata's address says. Perhaps now they're okay with it being Ho Chi Minh Sarani, but maybe back in the 70s they refused to call it that. I don't know.
We took a long time to get to the answer, but it's a lesser than the time the Americans took to get out of it.
And in this case, at least we had a decisive end to it. In that case, they refused to acknowledge their loss.
Okay, so we are back to being on segues because as usual, I have come completely unprepared. So going from the segue of addresses, and it's a little, I'm easily workoutable, so let's go. So this is a street in the United Kingdom where there are a lot of immigrants. It was named after a very early immigrant called Dulka, Dulka.
Okay.
And that street has lots of blocks. It has a normal value for the street in that area, but one specific block has a very high, it's almost like 15-20 times higher value than its neighboring house. Like the next house on the left, the next house on the right is 15% lower. So you have to tell me, which block is that and why?
You said a lot of immigrants there.
Yeah.
And I know more about Indian immigrants probably than I do about any other culture. So that's what I'm going to start. I'm assuming it is perhaps related to some Indian celebrity who has lived there. I know a bunch of Indian celebrities have had houses or still have houses in London.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it is some Shah Rukh Khan's previous house in London. Something like that? Amitabh Bachchan? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't think if he ever lived in London. I mean, I know about his house in Bombay.
There's also Dubai. Also, I believe he has a house. I'm sure there are a bunch of houses. Yeah.
No, this is not about the occupant of it. It's about the house itself.
Oh, okay. So it's not like somebody famous ever lived there and that's why the price went up.
Nope.
But it's an Indian connect?
It is an Indian connect.
What did you say the name was?
Dulka. Dulka.
I don't know. I mean, I think Dulquer Salman is great and phenomenal, and I love him. I'm just wondering if.
Are you bringing it up the one time that the man from Kochi is not here? Like bringing up Dulquer Salman.
I have been endlessly criticized for my lack of knowledge of Malayalam cinema, so I'm overcompensating perhaps. But no, I'm trying to think of some name. Dulka. And you said it's a specific block.
Yeah, one specific block. there are people who are listening to the podcast right now going, oh my God, I know this. They're shouting at you, right?
Oh, yeah. No. I have been shouted at so many times.
I do this every time we have one of these quizzes. Yeah. Every time we do this,
it's very real. No, I am sure they're shouting at me already. So let me try to figure this out. Dulka.
You are almost there.
Name, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, I figured it has to do with the name of the house. A block, you said. Okay, so does it cross with some interesting... Is it on the crossing of Dulka and Salman Street or something like that?
Oh, no, it's not. It's not. By the way, it's a bigger fan base.
Okay. Yeah, I figured like Dulka Salman probably is not the biggest of celebrities.
Yeah. You'll land on it if you start going through the blocks.
Okay, like a number. Okay. I was thinking block like a crossing, but okay, that numbering also. Oh! Was it the house number 10 on Dulka Street?
And why?
Because that would be 10 Dulka, 10 Dulkar, 10 Dulkar. Oh my God.
Yes, it is number 10 on Dulka Street. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Well done. Yes, that's it. It's 10 Dulka Street.
Fantastic. Oh, I love it so much.
Now we have to somehow figure out how to get Dulkar Salman to that place so that we can get retrospectively this question correct for you also.
Yeah, somehow find a connection there. I'm sure there is a Salman Street also, and if by chance it intersects with Dulkar Street, we have trivia right there.
Yeah, we have a winner. Well, very interestingly, you won't have trivia because in its original etymologically sense, trivia is the intersection of 3 streets. So you need to have one more street to get actual trivia.
Oh my God, that just made me so happy somewhere inside. A trivia about trivia. That's the best kind of trivia. Fantastic. Okay. All right. Well, speaking of, I have an easier segue because I have predetermined my questions. So I just have to make up the segues. I don't have to make up the questions. Speaking of famous people in India, I have a question about a famous person who was caught up in a legal battle. And this is around 22 years ago, all right? So you have to identify who this famous person is. Here are the details. 22 years ago, January 23rd of 2004, there was a landmark case in front of the Supreme Court of India, which was the case of Union of India versus X. X is a very famous person.
Okay.
This case practically determined how Indians, the citizens of this country, interact with our flag, with our tricolor flag, the saffron, white and green flag that we all love so much. I think it's a pretty well-designed flag. I'm a big fan. Yeah. Tiranga, as it were. So X had decided in an act of, again, perhaps some sort of defiance or to challenge the authority, he decided to fly the flag on his premises. And so this court case came up. He was, of course, being prosecuted because back then it was not allowed for private citizens to be flying the flag in non-government settings or non-government approved settings. There were certain restrictions to how the flag could be flown, and on the days that it could be flown on, there were a bunch of restrictions that have since been eased in a bunch of other court cases as well. But this was one of the first significant court cases in that matter. He flew the flag on his factory premises. The question to you is, who is this famous person X?
Interesting. Okay, I am going to go for Tata.
Very, very good guess, but no, it's not Tata. Tata, I can imagine doing stuff like this. He was known to have a pretty civic-minded attitude. So, no, it's a good guess, but no.
Okay, cool. That's my first guess. No, but to get something else out of the way, the question is not yet over, but I have to ask this.
Go for it.
At Republic Day functions and all, in every state, the chief minister unveils the flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know they were not allowed to do it for a long time?
Okay.
Who was the first person who went against the government and said, I'm going to do it because I have the rights in my state, and did it. And because of him, every other CM right now has the ability to do it.
Oh, interesting. So I'm curious, was it before that only the governor could do it? What was the deal like? Oh.
No, before that it was only the president at Rashtrapati Bhavan during very specific occasions. Chief ministers could not do it. He was the first guy who went against the government and said, no, I have the right to do it. I will. And there's a reason why I'm also very excited about it, and it's also good timing.
Oh, okay.
I'll give it to you because this is your question,
Okay.
and I'm just.
And I was going to guess first. My first guess was going to be just because I think this man has a pretty badass history. I was going to say Biju Patnaik from in Odisha, former Chief Minister of Odisha. But you also said it is relevant right now, so I'm going to guess.
Also, I am very proud of the fact.
You are very proud of the fact. This is embarrassing because I don't know the history of the chief ministers as much, and I'm assuming this was a few decades ago at least.
Few decades ago, and Tamil Nadu has had only 2 chief ministers till today. Then there's a third one who's come up now.
Yeah, I mean, right now we are in the middle of
There are
that.
a couple who everybody knows about, so you can name one of them.
I know Stalin as
Stalin's dad, Karunanidhi.
Oh, okay, Karunanidhi makes sense. Yes, of course.
Yeah, Kalaignar Karunanidhi was the first one saying that as a chief minister, I have the rights to put up the flag.
Wow.
He started off as an act of defiance, and now everybody can.
Fantastic.
Now let's get back to your question,
okay.
which is completely the original point.
So it was around Republic Day, and I think before that it was only on specific days that you were allowed to hoist the Indian national flag. In private premises, there were some restrictions on that. So he decided to do it on a day, and it was his way of saying that my rights as a citizen and my free speech rights rather should be more important than these restrictions. And he won the court case, by the way. So we are able to do that thanks to this person.
Okay. So, and you said it's a factory, so it's a business person.
Exactly. You got that right.
I don't know of many business people who have that sort of fervor to buy their rights and stuff like that. So, struggling to think who it could be, who would. Is he also known for doing other things like this?
Yeah, he has done some pretty civic oriented things in his life. Perhaps not as famously as Tata, but as a lot of the big business owners are entrepreneurs in this country are. He has had, of course, his fair share of civic minded.
Okay. You said factory because if I said company, I could go for one of those tech giants like an Aziz Premji. So you said factory. So somebody who's into manufacturing, right? So Mahindra.
Also a good guess. Okay. I'll give you a hint. This case started, I told you it wrapped up in the Supreme Court in 2004, but it started in 1992 when X hoisted the Indian national flag at his factory in Raigad in Chhattisgarh. So this was in Chhattisgarh, if that helps you a little bit.
No, it doesn't.
Back then it would have been, of course, Madhya Pradesh, but yeah, Chhattisgarh now.
That did not help me. So this is a type of question where you need a teammate in your quiz because business is not. So if Sethu Madhavan is watching this, shout out to him. If I were doing a business quiz, I would take him on. He would probably get this immediately. Chhattisgarh, so I don't know, some steel foundry or something.
Steel, very good. Steel. Yeah, steel should lead you to it. Perhaps the most famous name in steel in India.
SAIL, Steel Authority of India Limited.
I think that is, if I'm not wrong, that's a publicly owned company. Yeah.
Then is it Mittal, Lakshmi Mittal?
Mittal is also a good guess, no, but perhaps the other name that is associated to steel.
No, I business is not my thing. The only reason I know Mittal is because he was richest man or something.
No, fair enough. There is a very famous university. Perhaps he's more famously known by the university that bears his name and bears his father's name. He opened it up and it bears his father's name. So that could perhaps be the other hint that would lead you.
Oh.
This is in Haryana, by the way. The university is in Haryana.
Okay. You know what? I am going to say I don't know because I have to give up. I've had a perfect record so far.
No, you got very close because you got the businessman, you got the steel part of it also.
Jindal.
Jindal is the right answer. Jindal Steel. OP Jindal University in Haryana. Yes.
I was going through universities in Haryana, those who have invited me to come and give a talk. And I went through the list.
So you have a personal connect, yes.
So thank you. My record stays.
Yeah, well done. Naveen Jindal, who is an Indian industrialist,
okay,
also politician and philanthropist. He is the chairman of Jindal Steel, one of the biggest companies in India.
Nice.
I would imagine he's perhaps one of the richest people in the country. I'm not too sure about that, but he should be probably. Anyway, so also the founding chancellor of OP Jindal University, OP Jindal being Naveen Jindal's father. Naveen Jindal, when he was a very young man in his early 20s, so this was back in 1992, in his early 20s, decided to hoist the flag in his factory. And that defied the law that governed how private citizens are able to hoist a flag on only certain occasions in their premises. So all of us might remember being young kids and, a flag hoisting happening in the building that we live in the society that we live in. But that would be restricted to 15th August or 26th January. So he decided to do it on another day. And back then he did it as a way of saying that my right, freedom of speech and my right to honor my flag and my country is perhaps more important than these nitty-gritty details. On January 23rd in 2004 was when the final ruling by Supreme Court established the fact that yes, private citizens should have the freedom to hoist the flags on days which are not mandated by the government.
Nice.
Since then, there have been other court cases also which are important, and this is a personally interesting addendum to this trivia is the fact that you were not able to have the national flag as part of your clothing. That was also restricted in some obscure law or whatever somewhere. And the reason that I have a personal connect to this is my sister. When she was a tiny little girl in school, I think she was just barely 6-7 years old. She took part in this poetry recitation competition, and she was doing some very patriotic poetry. It was very cute in Hindi.
Okay.
And my mom decided that the appropriate costume would be, she was wearing all white, and then she just had a dupatta, which was the tricolor.
Oh.
And my mom got it, did it herself, and she thought it would be very cute. And then and I think she did a great job. If I remember correctly, she didn't win because the judges cited the fact that, you're not technically, this is breaking the law.
Wow.
So I'm quite happy that the courts have recognized since then that, if done in a respectful manner, you should be allowed to wear the tricolor as well on your person.
Wow. Shout out to Auntie for doing a great job. Shout out to you.
Yeah, well, I don't know if she went to the Supreme Court to fight for my sister's right to wear the dupatta, but she was heading in the right direction, because now citizens of this country can do that. And Naveen Jindal, shout out to the man. Probably people know him today as a politician as well as an industrialist, because he was part of the Indian National Congress and now he's part of BJP, as things happen in politics.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an interesting little anecdote to his very early life. In his early 20s, mind you, which is, I think, quite impressive.
Congratulations. Well done. Hey, excellent. Good job. I think we have my segue ready.
Let's go.
Flag. And also, segue to your first question. Or a segue to your audience question.
Got it.
One-line question.
I'm excited.
What was the first flag on the moon?
Oh my god. I know this. I feel like I've probably, because I was so caught up in the Artemis mission as well.
Wait, okay. So let's go through this. So what was not the first flag? What is the obvious wrong? Let's go for the Alan Davies answer.
Not the American flag.
Okay, let klaxons go off for all those who said the American flag.
I have a feeling this is, and it's contentious. Some people say that, it shouldn't be counted, but let's go with that fun piece of trivia for you.
No, an actual flag on the moon.
Okay. If I'm not wrong, this is something that crashed onto the moon and there was a flag on it. So people claim that was the first flag that was on the moon. Is that the right answer? Am I thinking in the right direction?
Which country?
I mean, a country, then the only other country that would be possible would be USSR.
It was not the USSR.
Okay. Again, I feel like this is just some trivia that I've read recently. It was some other kind, some equipment that belonged to some other country that was also there. It's
Yes.
Yeah, I remember being confused between these two pieces of trivia. Okay. I'll need a hint.
So, July 20th, 1969, before the Eagle lands, they have to identify certain things which are there, the conditions of them. So the only non-American piece of equipment was one which is used to study the solar particles. They needed to know how much solar radiation was. So they released a solar particle, kind of an aluminum foil, which will land on the moon and identify how much solar particles are there, so that the radiation is not too high.
Okay.
And it was made by a person called Geiss, Geiss.
Okay.
That's the only non-American component. And you know how we put make in India, made in US? They're like, yeah, so made in our country, so we put our flag.
I want to say it is some European country.
Good. Do you want one final clue?
Yes, please. Yes, go for it.
It was a huge positive sign for the European Space Agency.
Oh, what a great clue. Is it the Swiss flag?
It was a big plus. Yes, it was a Swiss flag. So it was a tiny aluminum foil which had the full Swiss flag on it, and it landed before the eagle landed. So the first flag on the moon is technically the Swiss flag.
Right. Yeah.
I think I can also tell you where you heard this.
Mm-hmm.
It's from an episode of No Such Thing as a Fish.
It is a no such thing as a fish piece of trivia. Yes, that's what I heard it.
Yeah, Dan Schreiber brought it.
Correct. They were talking about, I think, there was a very fun piece of, one very fun episode, I remember. Lovely.
Yeah. We'll give credit where credit is due to the amazing Dan Schreiber.
No such thing as a fish deserves credit in every Are You Quizzing Me episode. Because I think inadvertently, maybe I don't even remember that's where I heard the piece of trivia, but there is so much fun trivia on it that I think it just accumulates somewhere at the back of my head. So please go listen to that episode, that podcast actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Since Russia came up, or well, at least the Soviet Union came up in the previous question, that's my segue. The question I'm going to ask you is very simple. Also, probably a one-line question. In 2003, Putin and his lawyers were going to sue Warner Brothers. Why were they going to sue Warner Brothers back in 2003?
Probably a movie was made, which they didn't. Wait, 2003?
Yeah.
Was it one of the... No, Warner Brothers is not James Bond. Was it Mission Impossible?
Okay, you're not talking about any the Russians being portrayed as villains kind of thing. It wasn't that.
No, it's specifically Putin.
Yeah.
So obviously somebody's made fun of Putin and he took offense.
In a very indirect way, yes.
Okay. Did some movie have a plot where Putin was responsible for something and they hinted at the fact that Putin was responsible for something, like the death of a journalist? Probably.
Actually, speaking of, because we spoke about places being renamed, there were places that were going to be renamed to, I think, Navalny Street, which was the Russian consulate after Alexei Navalny passed away. I think 2 years ago he passed away.
Passed away. If you're watching this video podcast,
quote unquote.
Yeah, within air quotes, passed away.
The poor guy, man. That guy suffered so much. But kudos to him for fighting till the end. But anyways, coming back to this, yes, Putin is notorious for having had his opponents face accidents very often. But
so that was not the problem.
No, it's not got anything to do with a plot point. Mocking him, if they were mocking him, it was so indirect and probably all in Putin's head is all I can say. So why were they planning to sue?
Ooh. Is this something like the Winnie the Pooh situation from China?
That was going to be my hint to you that if Xi Jinping was going to do it, he would sue Walt Disney Company. So it's a pretty similar lines of that.
So it's an animated movie?
No, it's not an animated movie, but it has some very heavy CGI being used, and the character in question is CGI, yes.
Okay, so it's a CGI character who gives off vibes of being Putin. So much so that Putin himself was like, hey, that's me.
Again, I don't think Winnie the Pooh gives any vibe of being Xi Jinping, and even the resemblance is so, I don't know, it's so forced. I don't think it's just entirely, I think that's what happens when you're a leader of that style.
That is true.
Or dictator, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Okay, 2003 CGI heavy movie where there is some sort of angle where a Russian comes in.
Again, no Russian at all. Winnie the Pooh, again, is not Chinese at all, right? Like, it's just...
correct. No, yeah.
It had nothing to do with... In fact, if anything, just like Winnie the Pooh is such a sweet character, this character in question is also very, I think, is the most wholesome character in this particular film.
Oh, then I'm not getting it.
Okay. So, this was part of a series of films, and this was the second film in the series. That's where the character first appears.
Okay. 2003 second.
The second film actually came out in 2002. The court case or whatever, the legal proceedings were going to happen in 2003. I don't know if it actually happened finally. But yeah, they were planning to sue Warner Brothers.
Wait, was this the Lost World series? I think there's Lost World in 2003. Did you say that dinosaur is based on me?
Yeah, you're on the right track. It's almost like he just, I don't know why he found the resemblance to be there, and he insisted that it's there, and he wanted to sue them for it. Whatever, doesn't matter. But the question is, what character did Putin think that he was he resembled and was being mocked in a way, even though the character is very wholesome, I think.
Okay, then I am gone. I can't think of him and anything wholesome in the same sentence. So,
yeah, I don't think Putin is a resemblance, but sure, if that was in Putin's head. Okay, one last clue. I said it's the second in the series. It came out in 2002. It is based off of a book and is probably one of the most famous IPs out there.
Wait, is it a children's character?
Young adult children, yeah.
Famous series, second movie comes out. Oh, was this from Narnia or something?
More famous than Narnia.
Oh no. This, I did not think it was true. This is Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Ooh, interesting. Now you've said Gollum. I don't know if you would consider this series more famous than Lord of the Rings.
Oh no, for me Lord of the Rings is number one.
But yeah, you know what? I'm not going to argue with that. I don't want to piss off people. But this probably has sold more.
Okay. So Jacob Ray looked at Gollum and came up with Dobby the Elf. And I think that's what Putin got pissed off at.
Fantastic. Yes, it is Dobby the House Elf. And J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was adapted into a film which came out in 2002. And so they decided that because of course the books don't have that much illustration in them. But the movie had a specific design, and Putin assumed that the way they designed it was based off of his likeness.
For Dobby.
And I think Dobby is a pretty nice, sweet character.
Yeah.
If anything, oppressed and treated poorly, but wholesome in and of himself.
If what you're saying is right, somebody just has to throw a sock at Putin and he'll go away.
I would assume that is a suicide mission, but sure.
Call that guy who threw a shoe at George Bush. Tell him to throw a sock at Putin.
I love when non-lethal objects and non-permanent damage objects are thrown at politicians.
Yeah.
Especially some of the politicians who deserve it. As long as they're not bodily harmed, I think it is hilarious. Like there are these cases of, I think it's the Brits.
Yeah, Farage and milk.
Yeah, the Farage, right?
Milk.
I think he's been thrown flour on him. Milkshake, eggs. And I remember John Oliver made a joke about like, all he needs is some baking powder and we are ready to make a cake because there's been flour, there's been eggs, there's been milk. So all the ingredients are there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess the next Mission Impossible film should just be Ethan Hunt trying to give a sock to Putin.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Fantastic. Yes, it is Dobby the House Elf, and Warner Brothers were potentially going to be sued. I don't think it finally happened, but they were considering suing Warner Brothers because of the likeness of Dobby the House Elf to Putin, as Putin thought himself.
Wow. Okay, segue. You said he thought Dobby was based on it. Let's go in the other direction. So they were these characters which are based on the actual people. When this movie was released and when the movie was being made, Disney were like so damn sure that they will get this voice ensemble on board. So they made the characters, they designed the characters, they named the characters, but the deal fell through.
Okay.
The people who were supposed to come and be part of the movie did not.
Okay.
Well, they still had to take the movie forward, so they did it with 4 people who we don't know. I mean, I generally don't know the names. And the movie continued. 1967, the original film comes out. Song was great. There was a song in the movie which made a reference to all of this. People didn't realize that this was what had happened. But till today, that movie is also a very famous movie, Hallmark movie. And it's got multiple remakes and reworks of it and all. But my question is, who were the original voice artists and what are the name of the characters?
Okay. You said 4 people that they were going to bring on board, and they eventually did. That didn't happen. They went ahead and made the movie. Came out in 1967. Initially, I was thinking it could be one of the earlier, the famous princess films, all of the Cinderella and the Snow White and whatnot. But I think those were before 1967.
100%.
Yeah, so they're definitely older than 1967. because a lot of Disney films are musicals. Number 4 makes me think of a band. Like 4 is just a very classic band number. Because it's the 60s, I could guess that it would be the Beatles.
There you go. Full points to the Beatles. Well done.
Okay, so the Beatles are going to be a cast in a Disney film. That's interesting. Okay.
Yes.
So did it not happen because of other reasons or because the Beatles just they broke up?
Like 1967, they were very much together only. I think it was just one contractual issue, and basically it was just their manager, not money, that kind of stuff.
Got it. So then they would have to be English characters. They would have to have a British, English, whatever accent.
Yeah. The final version didn't, but the original was supposed to have.
Okay. So the final version didn't have it. Because I was thinking any story based in merry old England. In that time, I can't think of any Disney film.
The giveaway clues to where it is based.
Okay, alright. So, no, Aladdin is later. Aladdin is in 1967. Pocahontas also would not make sense because that would have British characters, but that is also later, I think.
Very much later, 90s.
Yeah, that's a later film. 1967. Which Disney film is 1967?
Yeah, and it's one of those movies which everybody knows, and like even till recently, there have been remakes, there have been recent live action remakes and all that kind of stuff.
Ooh, live action remakes. A Disney live action remake. There has been Beauty and the Beast. There has been Snow White, Cinderella. Beauty and the Beast is not 1967, right?
No, it's not. A little later than that.
Okay, interesting.
It is because Celine Dion sang in it.
Mm-hmm. No, I think I'll need some other clue because I can't think of. I'm not able to picture any characters which would be played by John, Paul.
Okay, so the 4 characters are called John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Okay, and they also decide, like even till today, if you look at the original frame, they all look like the John, Paul, George, and Ringo, the 4 characters. Okay, it's based on them.
Interesting.
Now, the interesting part is that it's probably, as of now, the only Disney film that's based in India.
India?
Yeah.
Jungle Book?
Yes, there we go. It was based in Pench.
Wait, Jungle Book is... What? Break this down for me.
Come on. Have you seen the movie Jungle Book?
Probably as a child, I don't quite remember the original version anymore.
So there's a lovely song called We Are Friends, Friends to the bitter end.
Yeah.
And that's a 4-part harmony. Do you know who sings those 4, which 4 characters sing that?
Ooh, is it, I want to say vultures? Are they vultures?
Exactly, they are the vultures.
I remember this group of vultures singing. Right.
So the 4 vultures were supposed to be the Beatles.
Oh, so interesting. That is insane. Yeah. I love it so much.
Follow-up fact for you. So the Disney guys reached out to the Beatles and Beatles did follow. The other way is where the Beatles reached out to somebody and said, we want to make your book into a movie. And that guy said, no. Do you know who that is?
Beatles reached out to someone to adapt their work.
Yeah, they said we want to be, again, 4 characters. We're like, these are the 4 characters, we will play these 4 characters.
Is it Lord of the Rings?
Exactly, and what are the 4 characters they wanted to play?
Oh my god, they wanted to play Frodo and Sam
the
and...
4 hobbits, Merry and Pippin.
Oh my god, that is so cool.
There is a copy of the letter where Tolkien said, sorry, no, don't do it. Tolkien himself said, I can't imagine the Beatles as hobbits. No can do.
Oh, that is interesting. They reached out to Tolkien himself to play. Oh my god. Yeah, I can imagine the 4 of them being a little nerdy, having read Lord of the Rings in school and wanting to play those characters.
Yeah.
That's so cool, yeah.
And Tolkien said, no chance.
Oh man, I would be very interested in an alternate universe to have seen that film. That would be a pretty interesting film to watch, yeah.
Very interestingly, Peter Jackson, he did do both the Beatles and the Lord of the Rings.
That is true. Oh my god, I forgot the Beatles part of it also. Yeah, Peter Jackson did do that. So cool. Lovely. Because I recently watched Michael and again, because as these things happen, he's back in pop culture. I came across this piece of trivia. Do you know which character did Michael Jackson want to play really badly and almost went to the point of buying the IP, the original IP, just so that he can play the character.
Okay, I know two characters. One was Peter Pan, which is what went to Never Never
Sure,
Land,
yeah.
because he wanted the boy who now grew up. The second one was he wanted to be in Men in Black, and he wanted to be an agent, and he did get to be in Men in Black. He stars in Men in Black. As the scene, he says, I am Agent M. Is there anything for me? And they shut him down. So I know those are the two films that he did star in. But what is a character he wanted to play and didn't get to play? I am not sure. I don't know.
So this was confirmed by one of the creators of this IP in 2009. That Michael Jackson approached him to play this particular iconic character. He was a huge fan. This he tried to do in the 90s. When he was turned down, he is like, you know what, I'm just going to buy this whole thing and I'm going to make the film myself, right?
Interesting. I don't know. What is this?
Yeah, I don't know if there are any hints I can give. Actually, I'll give you one hint. The person who confirmed it was Stan Lee.
Oh, he wanted to play Spider-Man.
Indeed, he wanted to play Spider-Man.
Oh.
Marvel was facing bankruptcy in the 90s. That's when they sold it off to Sony and Fox, X-Men and Spider-Man was sold off. At that point, I think Michael Jackson also approached Stan Lee about buying the company so that he could eventually just play Spider-Man if he wanted to. Yeah.
That is so cool.
That would have been a very interesting take on it. Yeah.
Very interesting. Nice. Okay, we're getting lots of questions within questions. I like this. Very nice.
Yeah, I like it. Just some side trivia for people who like that guy. And that's actually quite the no such thing as a fish vibe.
Yeah, I know. This is the best part about not preparing questions. You just segue into random stuff.
All right, this is probably going to be my last question. And after this, you can ask your final question, buddy. So I segue with the simple idea of an ensemble. Right? Because the Beatles were, I guess, an ensemble. So that's my segue. The Many Loves of Dobby Gillis was an American sitcom that aired on CBS from September 29, 1959 to June 5th, 1963. So for a period of around 4 years, there was a sitcom on the American channel CBS went by the name of Many Loves of Dobby Gillis. This sitcom obviously featured a bunch of characters. I'm going to mention a few of them, all right? I'm going to mention 4 of them. So that's where the ensemble comes in. Dobby Gillis was a clean-cut teenager, the titular character, an unremarkable student whose young heart finds poetry and literature resonant. There was also Maynard Krebs, Dobby's lazy and somewhat goofy best friend. There was Thalia Menninger, a beautiful high school classmate of Dobby. And the last character in question was Zelda Gilroy, the smartest girl in Dobby's high school and college. These were the 4 characters in question. The reason I ask you about this is because these 4 characters inspired something in pop culture that is a lot more significant and resonant than this particular show from back in the 50s and 60s, right? The show Dobby Gillis and the 4 characters from Dobby Gillis, including the titular character, inspired 4 other characters that are a lot more, have a lot more significant impact on pop culture. Can you tell me what 4 characters were inspired by these 4 characters from this show back in the 50s?
Timeline and your description makes me think of Archie, Jughead, Betty, Veronica.
The timeline is accurate because the first ever Archie comic appeared in April 1967.
Okay.
So you were right in terms of the timeline, but no, it's not the Archies.
Okay. So can you tell me what are the 4 characters?
Dobby Gillis was a clean-cut teenager and unremarkable student, and he aspires to have dates with all of the beautiful girls he pursues. So that's where the Many Loves of Dobby Gillis, that's where the name came from.
Okay.
There was Maynard Krebs, the character which was Dobby's lazy and somewhat goofy best friend.
Okay.
He was a would-be beatnik who shuns romance and authority figures. The other characters in question, first was Thalia Menninger, a beautiful high school classmate of Dobby. Thalia is only willing to date Dobby when he has money or helps her in her schemes to make some money for herself. So that's kind of the character sketch for her. And there was Zelda Gilroy, who's the smartest girl in his high school and college. And Zelda is in love, but Dobby is not very interested in her.
Wow.
Zelda is in love with Dobby, but yeah.
Okay, so there's 2 guys, 2 girls, and there's some sort of romantic interest in all of. Are we looking at the on-screen universe or is this a book universe?
It's TV. I'm going to tell you, it's TV.
TV. Okay, 4 people on TV. And you said it's that became more universally acclaimed.
Yeah. I would say it's culturally a lot more resonant than this show, which I'd never heard of. And first time I came across this was in context to this trivia.
Oh, was this... I remember a show called The Wonder Years, which used to be on Star Plus a long time.
No, bigger than that. Much bigger than that. Much bigger. Wonder Years was... I think it was also adapted into Hindi, if I'm not wrong.
Really? Well, fun fact for you, the girl who plays the smart kid in The Wonder Years is actually super smart. She went on to do her PhD in mathematics and she actually has a mathematical theorem named after her. And she's now a proper mathematical scientist.
Wow.
Okay. Bigger than that. On screen, on TV, 4 people. So I'm guessing this is American television, which is where stuff like this happens.
Sitcom, probably not the right word for it, but yes, it's an American show.
Oh, interesting. So it's not a sit. Okay. Well, a little out of context, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer types?
No. This is, by the way, let me give you some context. First is it's created in 1969, so I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer is much later than that.
Much later, yeah.
So it's not Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I also said it's not a sitcom, but yes, it's an American show. Interestingly, I just was going through the history of the answer over here, and turns out that the context is that there was a lot of protest in 1968.
Okay.
There were a bunch of parent-run organizations who were protesting the fact that there were a bunch of shows that were meant for kids but had excessive violence, or whatever excessive violence meant in the 60s terms. Not sure. So a bunch of these shows were cancelled because of all of these protests, right? Now, Fred Silverman, who was the executive at CBS, decided that he needed something which was a lot more family friendly. So guess what he decided to program? The first show that he put forward based off of this need was, take a guess, which one is it?
Archie's.
Archie show. The Archie show based off the Archie comics was something that came on CBS around the same time because of a similar requirement.
Wow.
Now, they realized that for a younger audience, even younger than the Archie show would be intended for, they wanted something that was inspired by the Archie show. So they wrote a first draft of this question. And now that here we are back to our question of our show X in question. The first draft of it was inspired by the Archies. The second draft of it, they to move towards the other show, which was The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. And that's where the show came from. So you were actually very close because you said the Archies, and Archies was the original inspiration. The final inspiration was The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis.
Damn. My brain is stuck on Scooby-Doo for some reason.
Yay! It is Scooby-Doo!
Are you serious?
Your brain is doing you favors there, buddy, because it is Scooby-Doo. Yes, you are absolutely right.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Okay.
Yes, so, all right.
Wow.
So you got that right. And I mentioned that I described the characters, so I'll just tell you how they were related, and I think it will make a lot of sense. Because Shaggy, or Shaggy Rogers, as his full name is, was based off of Maynard Krebs. I said the beatnik character, the person who's not very interested in romance and stuff. The best friend character, right?
Yeah.
Velma was based on Zelda Gilroy, the extremely smart character. I don't know if Velma has a thing for Fred in the Scooby-Doo canon, but in the original show, the character did have a thing for Dobie. And Fred obviously is based on Dobie Gillis, who was the leader and was always perpetually scheming and whatnot. And Daphne was based on Thalia, the stylish rich girl, and who cared about more materialistic things. So these were the broad characters, and they were based off of Shaggy, Velma, Fred, and Daphne were based off of the characters from this one particular show on CBS called The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis.
Wow, I did not know this, but so cool. My brain just went to Dobie, Scooby-Dooby.
That's also, maybe there was some connection there. Nice.
Okay, cool. I think then my last question will be a nice segue of very famous American TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably one of the biggest hits of the 70s TV show It was about young people in that generation, the hippie generation, doing their things, going to school, and having a cool time and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
When they needed a character which was out of this world.
Okay.
They needed a character who was completely out of that world, and they decided to bring one person in and saying X is the right person to play this character. And that character was such a riot that character got their own spin-off show.
Mm-hmm.
When that character was on screen, they had a very specific problem because that character in his out of the world element had to speak foreign languages, speak in a different language. But because X was so fluent in multiple bad words in multiple languages, he set himself a challenge of trying to get past the censor board with as many bad words as possible. So they had to find a censor board who was fluent in multiple languages. Which show and who was X?
Did you give me a time frame? Sorry.
So the original show ran from 1974 to 1984.
Oh, 10-year long show. Okay.
Yeah, it was a very big hit. The person who plays a main role in that film is also a legend right now. In the show's a legend right now. And that show gave rise to lots of phrases which we still use today.
Oh.
It was generally a big show.
You also said spin-off, right?
Yes, the spin-off. Because that guy did such a great job.
I was going to say Cheers and then Frasier.
Even before that. This is 74.
But yeah, Cheers is, I think, a little late for that timeline, yeah.
Yeah. When I say out of this world, genuinely out of this world. So, extraterrestrial. Which episode of Cheers has a alien in it?
I've not seen Cheers, but I can imagine there is no alien in it. So then that makes me think of didn't Fonzie have a spin-off? Is it Happy Days and a spin-off of that?
Okay, you're right. It is Happy Days.
The Fonz had a spin-off?
Well, the Fonz is the name of the character, Happy Days, which starred Ron Howard, who eventually became one of the greatest directors of all time, including directing the movie Rush.
Correct, yeah.
What was the spin-off? Or more importantly, who was the alien?
Okay, yeah. I don't think Fonzie was an alien. He was just the cool guy over there.
Yeah. He was a very cool guy.
There was an alien. Oh my god, I've again not seen the show, so I have no idea.
Okay, so they found a dude to play an alien. Okay.
There was I had no idea that Happy Days had an alien character also.
Yeah, like genuinely from a different planet who spoke the weirdest thing and who was just literally with an energy that these guys couldn't handle and was proficient in multiple languages.
I absolutely love, by the way, Henry Winkler because I've seen him in other stuff since then. I love his character in Arrested Development, which also makes references to him being the Fonzie.
Yeah.
But he's definitely not played an alien. What alien character in Happy Days got a spin-off?
It was not Henry Winkler. And this person is world famous. Like people might not know Ron Howard and Henry Winkler. People know this guy.
Interesting. Okay, more famous than Ron Howard and Henry Winkler.
Oh, 100%.
So somebody who probably then went on to do films also then.
Yeah. Global success. Like genuinely global success.
Okay, interesting. And the timeline is 70s and 80s.
He had such a manic energy. Yeah, such a manic energy. They're like, you are an alien. Like, genuinely, you're an alien. And they're like, okay, we'll cast you as an alien. And they cast him for one episode. And he was so good that he got a spin-off of a series which went for 10 episodes, I think. 10 or 12 episodes.
So, the description made me think, and all of it being very famous and manic energy, first made me think of Jim Carrey. But I'm assuming he was a child when this show was on.
Yeah. But same.
The only other person I can think of who would fit that bill and who would be somebody who would want to, probably was fluent in a bunch of languages and would want to push the censor board. Only other person I can think of is Robin Williams.
Right. And so Robin Williams played an alien called Mork, M-O-R-K. And he then went on to become the Mork and Mindy show, which he plays an alien.
Mork and Mindy show. That sounds... Oh, right. I've not seen it, but yes, okay, sounds familiar, right?
That is Robin Williams. And Robin Williams was the one who played an alien. And it is mental.
Oh, I had no idea that he played an alien in the show.
Yeah. And if I'm not wrong, it was one of his very first...
I can imagine,
He was doing stand-up all the time. And that was one of the first times he came out of stand-up and he came on the big screen.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, he global fame he achieved after that, obviously. Rest in peace.
Gem of a person.
Yeah, so Robin Williams is the right answer. Well done.
Wow, okay, I had no idea. And I didn't even know he played an alien, but who better to play an alien than Robin Williams? I completely full marks for that casting.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Okay, great. I think that brings us to the end of this episode, and that was a bunch of lovely trivia with a bunch, even better bunch of lovely segues here and there.
Yay.
Any last segue you want to throw at us, buddy? You don't even have to frame it as a question, just some trivia that we can take home with us.
Trivia you can take home with you, huh? Okay, let's go with this then. Do you know about Jumping the Shark, which was from the Happy Days?
Of course.
Would you like to tell the audience about why we, in entertainment industry, we say that is jumping the shark?
So I think again, because I've not seen the show, so I don't have a first person idea of this. But they were building up to the idea that there's going to be this epic event that's going to happen in this episode that is coming up in the near future, right? I think it is almost like, something great, something very significant is going to happen.
Tell you what. I was there for that because I was in school when this came out.
Oh.
And I remember watching this episode and thinking, what the hell is going on? So it was during the last season and there were big things. So they had the fawns skiing,
correct,
water skiing, and then jumping over a shark. And it was obviously CGI was bad and all that, so it looked very good and nobody could believe anything after that. So that brought about the end of the show, and the show went down. After that, After that, anytime a TV show does something that seems out of the blue, out of nowhere, and it's very weird and it doesn't fit in with the ethos of the show, it's called Jumping the Shark.
Right. And they were trying to do it as a way to gain some of the ratings that they were losing.
Yeah.
And it backfired completely. So it has that context.
Absolutely.
And the reason I also know this is, of course, I had heard the phrase Arrested Development. Oh God, I love that show so much. The first 3 seasons, fantastic. In which Henry Winkler plays a lawyer and he's the absolute worst lawyer. There is this maritime case. He wants to become a maritime lawyer in that for some reason. And there's this part where there's a shark that he jumps over. He literally, it's a visual gag. It lasts exactly 1 second.
But
he just jumps over the shark and runs off. It is him running off from the scene.
Wonderful.
And he literally does a quick jump. And to anybody who doesn't know the context of it, it would be like a very weird moment. But to anybody who does know,
that is mental.
History with Fonzie and jumping the shark.
What a
It's
gag.
brilliant. And I love Arrested Development for just these gags throughout, which it is fan service of just some utmost beautiful level where if you don't know, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and watch the show. It'll still be fun. But if you know, it makes the show so much better. I love it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Okay. On that amazing note, I will go back to our audience question to wrap up this episode. Let me repeat the audience question. Philip Sikowitz was an American cell biologist who spent most of his career at Rockefeller University. He was involved in early studies of protein synthesis and also worked with the Nobel laureate George Pollard on cell membrane dynamics. His most significant contribution to science, and I would say almost to general life and to some extent even pop culture, was because of his one article that he published in Scientific American, the pretty famous science magazine, in 1957. And the question was, what was this article about, or how did it affect us science and pop culture and whatever not since then? Since you're the only audience I have right now, Berty, you want to give a crack as to what this answer might be?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if you chose this because I'm a molecular biologist.
I did it for you. You're a molecular biologist. I did it just for you.
This is a pure guess, but I think I know this because I have come across this. Is this paper responsible for one of the most iconic lines in biology, which everybody or every kid knows?
Biology, I would say most iconic line in
science.
Education, like just education in general.
Okay, so basically in every cell, there's a very important reaction which is responsible for ATP being formed. And ATP is the energy source for life. And it happens in a very specific part of the cell, which is where the ATP is produced. I think that's what we're talking about. And this entire thing can be put together in one line. And that one line is, everybody, 3, 2, 1. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Fantastic. Full marks for that answer. I didn't expect anything lesser from our esteemed microbiologist. I remember the first time you came on, I don't know why I thought you were a marine biologist. So I was looking for marine biology questions when you came on. But no, you're a microbiologist. I know that. And I wanted to ask this question because I thought it might tickle you a little bit. And that's where we get that amazing phrase, mitochondria as the powerhouse of the cell, from this one article in 1915 that this one person wrote.
Quick thing. I am not a microbiologist. I am a molecular biologist, which is much more evident because this is exactly what we do. So microbiology is people who take care of cell culture, who grow cells, and which also I do. But my main job is a molecular biologist, which is to understand the molecule of the cell. So you are absolutely right. The mitochondria is something which I study on a daily basis.
I again misspoke. I again misremembered. So you're not a microbiologist, you're a molecular biologist. And happy mistake. You are relevant to this question. This question is relevant to you.
Absolutely.
We usually do a Sunday quiz, and that's another segue to our usual shoutouts that we do. So we do a Sunday quiz every week on our Instagram page. And one of the questions I was going to ask was about the mitochondria as the powerhouse of the cell. And while doing a little bit of reading up on that, I realized the only cell in the body which does not use ATP, adenosine triphosphate, is the red blood cell.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't have a nucleus.
Yeah, and so it doesn't have any mitochondria.
It doesn't have anything. That's why it has that weird shape, the concave shape. So that can hold the hemoglobin can hold the oxygen.
And I love the evolutionary history also. The current consensus is that mitochondria was at some point a separate entity.
Like an amoeba.
It got absorbed into cell, and that's why the eukaryotic cells now have grown over billions of years. The dependence on it, and it became a part of the cell, which is why it is the only part of the cell which does not rely on the cellular nucleus DNA. It has its own genetic coding.
Exactly. Well done. Somebody's becoming a molecular biologist.
I am on my way.
The mitochondria is passed on from female to female, right? In almost unchanged, 99%. So if you actually go back in your maternal inheritance, you can go back and you can get the first mitochondrial Eve. Basically, you can get the DNA of the mitochondria. Yeah, it's very interesting. Oh, molecular biology. I'm so excited. End of the day, talking about molecular biology.
No, I love that. And I was also, because I was like mitochondrial Eve, and I know there is an the equivalent of the male heritage. Where does it come from? Remind me. Is it from the Y chromosome? Do they trace it back to the Adam that it is?
Yeah, you have to go back to the Y chromosome.
Yeah, and there is one whatever being that they can trace it back to, where all current males are descended from, and one being that they can trace back all women who have descended from.
Yeah, there you go. Well done.
Insane. So, and again, for context, obviously Berty is the better person to say this, but I'll just clarify. These are not the biblical characters, because they didn't even exist at the same time. They existed at very different times. And it just means that every other lineage has died out. There were multiple females at that point. It's just that every other lineage has died out. This one lineage has continued.
Absolutely.
So that's where the mitochondrial leaf comes.
Yeah,
my side passion and completely hobbyistic approach to science paid off when
there you go. Well done.
I came across this trivia. I love it. All right. Okay. So the Sunday quiz happens on Instagram. Go check it out. Our Reddit page is active. I also, every time I release an episode, there's also some associated visual trivia along with the visual question, which is the social media audience question. And that is all the stuff that you have that you can follow us on Instagram or Reddit for. Do give us a rating on any podcasting app that you listen to us on. That helps. And actually what helps us more is when you tell a friend or a loved one about this podcast. That helps us grow a lot. So that's great. Follow Berty on Instagram. He does a bunch of podcasts. So you know what? He can be your gateway drug to all fun podcasts. Are You Quizzing Me being one of them. And Berty, anything that the audience should look out for? Anything you're doing in the near future? Are you going to Kolkata, I know. Yeah, but apart from that.
And also we need to give out our suggestions for what am I reading, what am I listening to.
Pop culture recommendation. Oh my God, thank you. I completely forgot. Yes, let's do pop culture recommendation. Let's start with that. Berty, what is a pop culture recommendation you have?
Well, I'm going to do both. Okay, let's start with pop culture recommendation. Since my camera decided to zoom in right now, what is zoomed in was on me and this vinyl right here. And this is a vinyl of this album called Grounded in Space by the band Advaita. So if you like Hindustani music and you also like prog, like Pink Floyd, and you ever thought, how it would be if both of them got together, check out this album. They have two albums. So the name of the band is Advaita. They're from Delhi. Fantastic. And you can find the keyboardist Anindo Bose on Instagram and keep pinging him. He'll eventually say, okay, my band is playing in your city. Come, I'll meet you after the show. And you can get this vinyl and you can get it signed by the band. So Grounded in Space by Advaita. That's my music recommendation. The second recommendation is this brilliant book launched by Upasana Saraju from Penguin Random House called Unruly. And it's about the history of the Ig Nobel Prizes. And it's a really, really humorous, very funny book about science and how about some of the craziest scientific experiments in the world has led to lots of interesting things. Now, it's about weird stuff, but it's written with this absolutely brilliant sense of humor that Upasana has. Anybody who loves P.G. Woodhouse, Gerald Durrell, that type of comedy, to read this book because it's about science, but it's written a lovely piece of humor. That takes me on to the stuff that I'm doing. Lots of stuff. I'm conducting quizzes. There's a new quiz app that a friend and I are launching called QZ which if you're a quiz master, come check us out. We have found a great way for you to make sure that you can do fun quizzes for your friends, family, wherever you are. So check us out. It's called QZ Vault. I think with that, I will stop. And if you come and follow me, I'll share. And DM me. Lots of people DM me saying, hey, are you the guy from Are You Quizzing Me? Love the episode. Please, I'm happy to say hi and put you on lots of other stuff. And thank you to both of you for giving me an opportunity.
That is entirely a pleasure. And yes, anybody who has discovered Berty through Are You Quizzing Me, hit him with a DM right now. Tell him that you loved him on the episode. Tell him to, I love that he travels a lot, but whenever he's not traveling, to come up on the episode. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that reminds me, quickly think. May 19th, I am doing Pint of Science Bangalore, where for the first time, I am talking about my work. That is personalized genetic therapy, molecular biologists. Remember what we talked about? So, May 19th at a pub called Skydeck by Sherlock on MG Road. I'm doing a 30-minute talk about personalized genetic therapy, but it'll be full of memes, GIFs, and there'll be also quiz questions. And fun thing, I am planning to play a song using my acoustic guitar, where I play using only chords which are basis of the genetic code. So, there'll be only A, C, and G, and the song will be about DNA.
Oh, so cool. Well, there's no T chord, so you can't do that. But yeah. A, C, and G, fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just have to say this because I lived in Singapore. There is a double helix bridge over there.
Oh, yeah.
Which connects to Marina Bay Sands. And of course, the double helix is the shape of the DNA.
In all sense. If it's DNA, it's double helix. If it's RNA, it's single.
Ah, interesting. That makes sense. Ribonucleic, diribonucleic acid. All right, fair. I'm learning so much. But in this case, I remember walking down. So there is obviously a pedestrian path also in that. And on the floor are just these tiny little lights which light it up and make it look beautiful. And in the lights, there are letters on it. And I remember the first time I was crossing, I was like, oh, what are these letters referencing? And it took me like a couple of minutes to realize it was all CGAT. Which is, of course, how we describe the genetic code in the DNA. So, yeah, the people in Singapore, if you're visiting Singapore, go check out the double helix bridge. Look at the letters on the pedestrian path and you will realize the cute little molecular biology reference over there as well. All right, fantastic. The last piece that I have to do is the social media audience question. It's a visual question, so you'll have to go look at the visual, but I'll just describe it in any case. It's a picture of a family. We have a very traditional, very lovely looking family. These are all white people. This is a mother, a father, a son, and a daughter. The question is, who are these people? So obviously it's made easier when you look at the picture. And as a hint, I'll tell you that this has pop culture resonance, as most of my questions do pop culture resonance till date. And especially in the last couple of years, it has risen up in popularity a fair bit. Tell me who these four people are. How have they impacted pop culture across the world, America especially, but across the world as well? And that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 139. We'll be back next week and see you guys then.
Bye-bye. Take care. course, if you hate me also, please tell me. DM me and say, dude, you are sucky. It was worst. Anyway, just DM. I'll say hi.